All right, here we go. Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and what can a Walmart Magic 8-Ball teach us about money? Apparently a ton. On today's show, we welcome the woman who hosts the Bigger Pockets Money podcast, Mindy Jensen, and the guy who's co-host of this show, financial planner OG, and of course, the guy with the 8-Ball himself from lenpenzo.com, it's Robert F. Kennedy. Wow! Now I'm just kidding. He's getting his flu shot, so we only got Len Penzo. How right was the 8-Ball last year? We'll review and then ask the 8-Ball what to expect in 2025. If you've never heard this episode, buckle up and expect the unexpected. And now, a guy who asked the Magic 8-Ball if 2025 would be his year, and it replied, "Don't count on it, buddy." Joe Saul-Sehy.
What a great self-affirming way to begin the year when you ask Len's 8. But the good news is, lately Len's 8-Ball hasn't been that right, but will it be right in 2025? I will have a good year no matter what it told me, Len, but I'm super happy that we're here. We're going to review the events of 2024 through the 8-Ball, talk about 2025. Let's meet our participants today. And the woman joining us from Bigger Pockets, Mindy Jensen, is here. Happy New Year to you, Mindy.
Joe, Happy New Year to you and to you, OG, and to you, Len. I'm so excited to be here.
You had a New York City New Year's this year.
I did. So on New Year's Eve, I flew from Las Vegas to New York City, which I don't recommend because it's a really long flight. And then we landed and we flew over Times Square. Let me tell you, that is not on my bucket list. That looks like a nightmare and a half. There's more than 10 people standing in Times Square, and it was cold and they were all kind of crammed together, and you could watch that on TV.
Wait a minute. Did you really see them from your plane window?
Yeah.
Really? What time did you fly in on New Year's Eve?
6. We landed at 6:30.
Yeah, and I've heard they're already packed in there by then.
Oh yeah. No,
it's all gated off, and then they open the gates to get to the front of the line or whatever.
Hey, just imagine
8 in the morning.
If you've got to use a restroom.
I was just going to say, am I the only person who has to pee more than once in 24 hours?
Right.
Oh, sorry. Can I say that on your show?
That's exactly. Oh, have you heard our show? Yes. And the man with the 8-Ball himself is here, Mr. Len Penzo. Is it stretched out? Is it ready to go? Because, there's the college national championships, and we're starting the playoffs for the NFL. Well, we're partway through as this airs. But, this is like the Super Bowl for the 8-Ball, Len.
You know what? And you were disparaging, and rightly so, the 8-Ball. I mean, it has been off the past few years. Really hasn't done very well. But it's still doing better than me, because if you ask my wife, I'm never right. I don't think I've ever answered a question correctly. So
I saw that meme that says, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, am I still wrong?
Yes.
In this household, the answer is absolutely.
That's totally the answer. I don't know if it's the same for Carl, Mindy.
It is.
Yes, of course. But that's good to hear, Len, that the 8-Ball is ready to go. So hopefully it has a good year. For people that don't remember last year, I made some wacky predictions. So we'll see.
I can't remember anything. I can't remember the questions. I can't remember anything. So I'm really looking forward to
this. Is that getting old?
Come on. Of course.
Slightly. And then speaking of wacky, Mr. OG is here. How are you, my friend?
I'm here so I don't get fined. I'm having a very tough time with the lighting in here. I'm very angry right now that the sun is out. It should not be out. It is like there's one little piercing amount of light that goes through this stupid little thing in the blinds. And I've been trying to solve it with
I can see it on your neck.
Sticky notes. No, that's the one I'm okay with. If any of those 4 sticky notes come down, which is held, by the power of 3M, then I get the thing like right over my face. Ugh, so annoying.
This is the way the pros do it, by the way. I'm sure all the other Cumulus/Westwood One podcast. I'm sure Rich Eisen is working on that. Mindy,
I'm raising my hand because I have the best.
You don't have to raise your hand. You can just talk.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt.
It's a podcast.
I just want you to call on me because I have the best tip ever. I don't know where I saw it on the internet somewhere. They said, hey, if you're at a hotel and the curtains won't close, which they never close, go into the closet and get one of those clippy hangers and clip the curtains together, and they will stop letting light in. So I have done that. Whoever invented that tip is my favorite person on the planet, besides you, Joe.
Thank you, Mindy. But I'm still
Joe,
wrong. Just to be clear, but I'm still wrong.
Do you have those clippy hangers anywhere that could save your life?
Yeah, I appreciate the thought. That would not solve this problem. They're wood blinds, and then the straps go through the wood blinds, and it's like literally
going over
the sun is going
over the basement windows here. I'm glad it's not on me; it's on you. So, but
you can see it. It's right there on my forehead.
But OG's not going to let that get in the way. I thought he was trying to close the window so he could find his good side, and I didn't want to break it to him. That might be a losing proposition. But we've got the Magic 8 Ball today. What happened last year? What are we going to ask it? What's the Magic 8 Ball going to predict for 2025? That's all coming up, but we've got a couple of sponsors that make this show free so that you don't have to pay for all this Magic 8 Ball goodness. Len, will the sponsor spots be free this year?
It is best not to say now.
That's good. So either they are free or we're about to bait and switch people. We'll tell you in just a couple minutes. Well, let's get down to it. So we started off last year on our Magic 8 Ball episode with the Paula Pant, who immediately did something that she's done every time she's appeared on this episode, which is ask about the royal family. Let's listen.
And so to capture the royal family mood of right around the new year, as we flow from 2023 into 2024, the big question right now is, will Harry and Meghan reconnect with the royal family, or will the split be only continue to worsen? And so I think the way to quantify that is, will Harry and Meghan both spend at least 2 months in the UK between January 1st through December 1st of 2024?
And so we asked that of the Magic 8 Ball, and you know what, guys? It took me a while to look this up, and I finally found more answer than I wanted to. Meghan Markle ended her 20-month absence from the UK. She had been in the UK in 20 months by going to the UK. However, she was there for less than 2 days. And she didn't connect with anybody from the royal family. So the answer is no, that did not happen. I know, OG, by the look on your face, you're really concerned with what happens to the royal family. Is this going to affect your portfolio?
I was mostly frowning because I could see out of the corner of my eye one of my very precariously posted Post-it notes doing this. And so I know whatever I do, wherever I lean, I'm going to have a ball of fire in my eyeball. So, but
that ball of fire gives you life.
To the point here, I also do not care one iota about whoever either of those two people are that Paula mentioned.
I'm still having trouble figuring out what the heck zeitgeist is. That kind of threw me there.
Mindy, do you follow the royal family at all?
Not on purpose.
No.
They show up in my news feed, but yeah, not on purpose. However, I will say that I don't blame Meghan for not going back to the UK for more than 2 days because they don't treat her very nicely. So why be someplace where people aren't nice to you?
Absolutely. Which is why Mindy comes back here over and over and over and over.
Over and over again.
Because we treat her so nicely. Yes. Let's find out if the Magic 8 Ball started off on a good note. So the answer was no. they did not spend more than, she ended up quantifying that differently, by the way. She said 2 months in the piece we heard, but later on she said, let's back that down and make it a month. Did that happen?
You can rely on that.
Oh,
There we go. It took us, we had to answer it, Len. I don't know if you remember that. We had to answer it. We asked it like 4 times before it would answer.
Yeah, we're off to a great start.
So I really wasn't feeling good about that one, but it did say yes, and the answer was no. So the world... 0
for 1.
Yeah, 0 for 1.
It's a long season.
So Len, let's turn to you and see what you asked it.
I'm going to start with my traditional precious metals question, of course. This time we're going to look at gold, and I would like to know, right now it's sitting at about just above 2,000. I want to know if it's going to get to 2,500 by December 1st of 2024. Mr. Predicto, will gold hit $2,500 by December 1st?
Just to give people an idea before you hit the 8 ball.
It's a 25% return.
Yeah, on the day we're recording, I think I was about to say that, OG. I think that's about a 25% return. It's a big number, Len.
That's a big number. Hey, okay, you could look at this as another softball for Mr. Predicto.
So you were predicting, Len, that it was a softball for Mr. Predicto because there was no way in hell this thing was going to return that big of a return. And for people that don't follow gold, Len, what happened in 2024?
I think gold outperformed everything this year. It finished. I don't know what it finished the year at. I think 2,600. I think it finished the year up 27%. The thing is, and I'm sure it was over $2,500 by December 1st. I don't know what the number was, but I'm sure it was above that number.
We're sitting at 2665 to your point today. Over the past, as we record this, over the past 12 months, it's been a 30% return. So again, right there, if we look specifically at December 1st, and it didn't trade on December 1st, on December 2nd, it was trading at 2658. So way, way, way above what we thought. Len, so if gold is kind of a predictor of gloom and doom, what do you think happened last year?
I don't know. I think everything was up last year. I think that reflects the money supply just going up, and all that money has to go places, and it went everywhere. It went into stocks, it went into gold, it went into Bitcoin, it went into everything. So I think that's what happened. And I just want to stress, gold is not an investment. Gold is wealth insurance. So I don't think anybody should be out there putting 30, 40, 50% of their,
gold's
their
up. I should buy
investable
some.
assets into gold. You buy it for insurance, and that's it. Just to maintain your purchasing power, and you guard against really bad outcomes. So that's what it's for.
Mindy, do you own any gold?
I own 0% gold. I have a couple of old necklaces that I need to sell, but it looks like now's a good time.
Just gonna melt them down, right? Oh, gee, this is actually, when we talk about diversification and correlation, I mean, I think last year proves a point that trying to predict what's going to go up and what's going to go down pretty damn near impossible. Because if we got the stock market up and gold up at the same time, to Len's point, who knows?
And Bitcoin.
And Bitcoin.
Yeah, and Bitcoin, yeah. I mean, ultimately, if you asked 100 economists, what the outcome is going to be, you're going to have 100 wildly disparate answers, and none of them are going to be right. But oddly, collectively, they will be right if you average it. Like the jelly bean answer, how many jelly beans are in the jar? Nobody gets it, and there's wide answers, but the average ends up being pretty close.
But this is actually interesting too. Did you see the stock market did almost double what the top major brokerage analyst predicted last year? Almost double what they predicted. And I mean, there's so many people that predicted down last year. So many of the major wirehouses predicted down that it's probably not.
I think it was the S&P. I think that was the index. It rose. It did better than 20% 2 years in a row, and I think that hadn't happened in a while either. So that was.
Yeah, if you were betting on that, man, that didn't turn out well.
Or if you're betting the other way on that. If you're
Let's,
betting on that would be a good thing.
So the answer was yes. Gold did do really well, even though at the time we were like, what, Len? What are you talking about? Let's see what the Magic 8 Ball said it was going to do.
It has been determined so.
Uh-oh.
There it is. Gold's going to do 25%.
Could be good if you're a gold bug.
If the Royals get back together and gold goes... Well, if the Royals got back together and gold went up 25%, it was going to be kind of a wacky year. But hey, we're 1-1. Let it turn it around. Turn it around quick, my friend.
Well, let's. The night is still young. Let's see where we go from here.
Yes. Speaking of that, so OG went next, and let's hear what he was ready to ask it.
Will there be a change in the executive branch in terms of party? Because, there's some question as to whether or not President Biden may run, may not run, so I don't know how that's going to all shake out. But will there be a change in the party in the executive branch?
Wow.
We should be rubbing OG's head. I mean, he even got the change of the nominee. Good job, OG.
I know. Some question around whether Biden will actually make it through. That did not happen. And then will the other party take over? How much do we think, as this is coming out, we are just days away from an administration change? I know, OG, we've talked about this a little bit previously. Next week we're going to have the swearing in and the new administration.
Swearing in and all the swearing about. Swearing in.
Some swearing at, some high-fiving, who knows? Yeah, it's going to be all over the place. But how much should this affect your strategy?
Well, we talked about it in the fall quite a bit around outcomes and what's happened in the last 50 years of presidential cycles. And obviously the best outcome was to always be an investor. If you said, well, I'm only going to invest when Republicans are in office, or I'm only going to invest when Democrats are in office, there were some pretty clear winners between that, in terms of which would be better, over the last 50 years. But it was an order of magnitude better to have been an investor for the whole time. The numbers were, to refresh everybody's memory, if you put 10,000 invested in January 1st of 1960 and only invested when Republicans were president until 2023, you had $100,000. I'm rounding. If you invested, and the rest of the time you had it in cash. If you only invested your $10,000 and kept it invested when Democrats were in office, you had $500,000. However, if you invested your $10,000 on January 1st of 1960 and kept it invested the whole time, you have $5.5 million. So we can argue about blue's better than red or red's better than blue. Look at the history. That's all great. But the reality is that if you just went into a coma with your $10,000 in the S&P on January 1 of 1960 and came to today, to now, you'd have 10x the best outcome if you were literally 50 years ago picking the correct horse. You know what I mean? It was impossible to predict that at the time. You know what I mean? So the only solution is to stay invested all the time. And there's going to be ebbs and flows, and there's going to be policy decisions, and that's going to affect this industry and that industry, and all of that's good, great, and wonderful. But you have to recognize that every single person who is in charge of organizations in America are out for themselves. And I don't care how many 10Ks you read or any of these things, they're like, we're blah. No, the only people they care about is themselves, because all of their money, all the executives at Coca-Cola or Frito-Lay or JCPenney or freaking Apple, all of their money is in their company stock. The vast majority. I was reading the 10K from Apple. He gets a $3 million salary. That's a lot of cash. Or $6 million. That's a lot. But he got $100 million of freaking Apple stock. That is a lot of money. You know what I mean? And so what does Tim Cook care about most? Selling Apple stuff. That's what he wants to have happen. Now he believes in it, and I believe that they believe in it. I believe the Coca-Cola people believe in the Coke. I get it. But they also only care about selling Coke. And if all of a sudden the administration comes down and goes like, well, there's no more sugar and we're not allowing sugar. Coke's not just gonna be like, well, guys, been a good run, 150 years, wrap it up. They go, all right, guess what? We start selling diet crap. We start selling water or Coke or freaking chips or something. You know, they're going to make some stuff up because they want their freaking stock price to go up. So if you are aligned with that by virtue of being a micro owner of all of those big 500 companies, who's all are incentivized to do whatever they can to make their own stock go up, ipso facto, you win. Like, don't make this harder than it has to be.
First of all, you know that you're a runner when he says 10K, and I think, what does 10K have to do with anything? And
thank you. I don't know. Maybe it's
I remember 40. It's investing.
It's something.
Yeah. That's.
I also thought 10K.
It sounds a little, like, you know, disassociative probably to say that everybody's only in it for themselves, but you get the idea, right? I mean, it's
I do get it. Yeah,
the people in those industries don't just go, well, I guess we can't drill oil anymore. It's been a good run, guys. Like, they think of new stuff to do. They're always working on new stuff. They have whole teams of people doing that.
Well, and even on the other side, OG, you and I were looking at a company just last week together. We'll just leave it nameless for today because it doesn't matter, and we don't want to get off on that tangent. But the CEO of the company gets paid a multi-million-dollar amount of money if the company doesn't go bankrupt. And the company looks to us like it's pretty darn close to going bankrupt. But just imagine how hard this woman's going to work to make sure this company does some good stuff. Like, to your point, I mean, she wants to save the shareholder, but she gets paid a ton of money if she makes it work. And all these people are incentive based, and it doesn't matter. But yet, Mindy, I think about the fact that, you know, we were talking about 2016. 2016, people made this mistake. You saw people run for the exits, right? The second that the election results came down. 2020, we saw it again, people running for the exits. I'm sure this year why do we keep making this mistake over and over, Mindy? Why do we keep touching the stove?
Don't say we. I'm not making this mistake. I am putting
Why do you, Mindy,
money.
Personally?
I am putting more money into the stock market because ultimately I believe in the strength of the American economy. Is it going to go up 100% of the time? No, but it's going to go up and to the right more often than down and to the right. So that's why I keep putting money in. I don't know why people keep making this mistake. They're afraid. And I don't know if they have access to this little thing called the internet, but if you look at historic stock prices, you can see like up and to the right. Yeah, there's like this big dip around the 1920s, but it goes back up again. I mean, it was 1920s to like 1960s. It's a pretty big dip, but it continues to go back up. So I don't know why they're doing it. You're wrong if you're running for the exits. Stay in.
The problem is all you guys are using the wrong predictor. It has nothing to do with the president. Who's the president? It's the Super Bowl predictor. It's whether the AFC or NFC wins the Super Bowl.
That's what it really is.
That is the predictor.
Look, the Kansas Cities are going to win again.
Oh, back away. Those are fighting words.
I didn't say I wanted them to win. I said they were going to win. I would like to let you know that I'm a Chicago Bears fan. So.
Oh man. Oh.
We were going to do so good this year.
Yeah. But I feel like the Dr. Phil guy. How's that working out for you, Mindy Jensen?
Well, I really liked how they won their game this weekend. Thanks.
So the answer is, and everybody's like, they didn't play this weekend. Do they win if they don't play? Is that the deal? So OG asked if there was going to be a change in the party that won. The answer, of course, is yes. Next Tuesday, our new president will be Donald Trump. And so let's see if the Magic 8 Ball agreed.
The answer you seek is yes.
Yes. The next president after a slow start, Len, we're off and running now, baby. 2-1.
This could be a good year. I'm dare I say it.
Don't get excited
optimistic.
yet, man. There's plenty of time for it to F this all up, right? We then turn to me, and I always take people from our Facebook group, the basement, and me and our friends at the Facebook group, we asked this question. You know, we had the Bitcoin tear this year. Bitcoin being left for dead by some people a year ago. Now Bitcoin with a big resurgence. Matt in our Facebook group wants to know, will Bitcoin reach $50,000 by December 1st? And we're like, whoa, that's going to be a monster amount of money.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is basically a reflection on all the things you should have done a year ago and didn't. It's like, yeah, how much gold did you buy? None. Like, you idiot. How much stocks did you buy? None. You idiot. How much Bitcoin did you buy? None. You idiot.
Well, it goes back to, OG, the thing that, you know, frequent guest Nick Majuli, who's on the show again last week, says, just keep buying. Like, buy. Especially if you're young, buy and buy and buy some more.
So, fun fact, on December 14th, Bitcoin closed at its highest ever, $101,680.90.
And as we record today, it's at 96,918. So
yeah, but yesterday it was at 103 or 102. So.
If you don't like the price today,
I bought it.
Yeah, come back tomorrow. And
just like they always talked about Michigan weather when I lived there. Now I moved to Texas and they're like, oh, it's just like Texas weather. Well, I guess it's like weather anywhere. Yeah. So Bitcoin clearly beat 50,000, nearly 100,000 as we record this. And to Mindy and Len's point, has been over that. The answer is yes. Then what did the 8 ball say?
The answer is no.
Oh, man. We were doing so well.
Darn it.
We're doing so well.
That sucks.
Now it's 2 right, 2 wrong. So,
2-2.
We're a third of the way done. Let's go directly into Paula's question in round 2.
Every year, I always ask a question about a Latin American ETF. And so on keeping with that theme, the iShares Latin America 40 ETF, ticker symbol ILF, will it, by December 1st, have year-to-date gains above 25%?
Looking at the iShares Latin America 40 this year, it began the year just below $23 a share. Today it's trading, it made it almost up to 30. It's trading closer to 28. Yeah, this would have been the loser bet right here. You talk about everything going up. Everything did not go up when it came to Latin America ILF. As we recorded that, as you heard, it got up around 30. It's now trading at 21.48. So you would have only lost about a third of your money, maybe a little less. So buy low, everybody. I don't know. Any of you guys, Mindy, you own any Latin America?
I do not own any of that ETF or any Latin American ETFs.
Do you own any sector funds in general? Like you bet on, I always have a problem staying away from. I love Southeast Asia. I just think it's like my favorite place, and I always have to back away from that. You know what I mean? Like I have to convince myself not to invest in one little piece of the economy.
You said sector funds. I thought you meant like a section of the
map, the
market.
world.
No, I don't.
Oh, like technology or biotech or healthcare.
I'm so heavy into tech.
I kind of consider these regional funds sector funds too, because I'm still betting on an area versus betting on a bigger slice of the pie. I don't know.
I don't want to look uninformed, but I'm really only in American stocks.
Only, I think it's pronounced America.
America.
That's right. Len, how about you? Do you have any sector stuff or regional things that you invest in?
I invest in the mining sector. So,
sure.
So I gold and silver miners, of course. That if you're going to invest, if you want to invest in precious metals, that's where you do it. Just be aware. It's a bit very painful. It's been very painful for that sector for the past probably 3 or 4 years. It's
with the price
and actually
of gold,
longer term. Yeah, I know but what it is, it has to. We won't get too technical here, but it goes
Sure.
into the cost of mining, the mining cost
Extraction.
itself, and the extraction cost. So, you have to be very careful. There's thousands of upstart miners out there. If you're going for the juniors, and it all comes down to what the cost of their mining, how much they can make off of that. So there are some that do well, but most don't. It's very risky. It's a really risky sector to be in, which is why I do pick a few flyers on my own just for fun with my gambling money, I call it. But for the bulk of it, I send that over to the professionals. I let the professional money manager, who's an expert in miners, handle my money for that, and he's done very well. So,
in minors and the majors, or just the minors? No, I'm sorry, that's bad.
Wait. So Len's
for a second there, I was going to answer that question.
I could not help it. It's right there. Len, with a little bit of my play money, I also own just one mining company, a little bit of Suncoke Energy. So,
very good, very good. I actually have a copper miner who's did very well this year too. Southern Mine, yes, Southern Mining Corporation.
So Latin America, definitely the answer is no. Let's see what the Magic 8 Ball said.
Everything points to no.
It's staying in the game, man.
We are above the at least the last 3 years average, so we're doing good.
I know we are rolling right now with a 3-2 lead. What's interesting is then I started talking about my trip to Peru. Oh, gee, you want to hear about my trip to South America? Thank you. I guess I asked for that. Len, you asked a question that at the time seemed like it was just out of left field. What's funny is what ended up happening here, which some people know and other people don't know, ended up being fairly, much more controversial than we thought it was going to be. Let's listen to Len's question.
This year, it was very interesting. We had Times Person of the Year was Taylor Swift. And I was looking into that a little bit. Did you know that prior to 2014, I think the first Person of the Year or Man of the Year at the time, it was called the Times, started in like 1929 or something like that. It started a long time ago. And up until 2014, there were only 3 individual females that had ever been awarded the cover there on the Times Person of the Year.
Wow. Only 3.
And then from 2015 to this year, 2023, or the previous 2023, and where Taylor won, 3 more individual women have won now in the last 10 years. So that got me thinking, is it possible for the first time that the Times Person of the Year could be a back-to-back female individual winner? So let's ask, and maybe that's possible. Mr. Predicto will.
Okay, before we ask Mr. Predicto that question, Len, do you know what ended up happening this year?
No, I actually don't.
Yes. The Time Person of the Year, very controversial pick. I saw more about Person of the Year this year than in a long time, because Time said Donald Trump was the Person of the Year. And so Donald messed it up for women everywhere. So that's what happened with Time. And so the answer is no. On did we have back-to-back women as Person of the Year? Let's see what Mr. Predicto said.
Without hesitation, yes.
It was so sure until Donald Trump came along.
Darn it.
So I want to know if Len's 3 people before 2014 included the year 2006 when you were the Time Person of the Year. You meaning everybody in the world.
Oh, all of us. I forgot.
All of us. Yes, I was Times Person of the Year.
Collectively.
Wow. I'm going to have to put that on my resume.
That's
We should lead that off, OG, with like the podcast description. Hosted by Times Person of the Year 2006. Well, we're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
OG is up next, and he's got a question about the Federal Reserve. Let's listen in.
My second one's going to be a money question today. So we were talking a little bit about interest rates and inflation and recession from 2023. Right now, the Fed funds rate is somewhere between 5.5 or 5.25 and 5.5. My question is will the Fed funds rate be lower than 4.25? So 25% reductions or 4 quarter point reductions or one big giant 1% reduction. I don't know how they're going to do it, but is it going to be 1% lower than it is right now?
We were hoping at the time, OG, that maybe we'd see interest rates go lower, and we certainly got down a bit, but as we record this, it's 4.48 that we're at right now. So didn't quite make it.
Soft landing.
Yeah, and it seems
the word of the year.
It seems to hopefully so far it seems to have been the case, but we have seen the Fed finally starting to move this year. Do you think that changes our strategy now that the Fed seems to be moving interest rate wise? Does that change any of your strategies, your debt strategy? Does it change your emergency fund strategy, any of that?
I don't really think so. If you have some debt and it's higher interest and you have the opportunity to refinance it to a lower rate. We bought a condo in 2021. No, it wasn't 21. Must have been 22. At 6.5%. And, we're actively trying to figure out a way to lower that. But, is the juice worth the squeeze to get it from 6.5 to 5 7/8 or something? I'm not sure. But this will be, as interest rates go down, even though it's lagging in the consumer world, it will help consumers to make a little bit better progress. I think the important thing to do is if you have consumer debt and you notice that your minimum payment went down, you should pay them the same flat payment all the time. Like if your payment on January 1st was $1,000 and then next month your payment is $980, the reason that they lowered it isn't to be nice. It's because they want to have you pay as little as possible so that you pay as much interest as possible. So just keep paying the $1,000, and you'll have the opportunity to eat into it. If interest rates are lower and your credit card, interest goes down by 2 or 3%, or you can, surf it to a 0%, or you can call them up and ask for a lower rate for a period of time. That's great. Still pay the $1,000, make an impact by the fact that you are getting a better rate. More money's going to principal. Then don't let off the gas because your minimum's only 500.
Yeah. Get that paid off.
40 years.
Right. Mindy is a real estate investor and somebody in the real estate business. Lower interest rates change things for you strategically?
Lower interest rates will change things. So I have a house that I am currently renting out, but next year, I guess this year, I am going to tear it down and rebuild because it's a really stupid layout. And I am going to borrow against my stock portfolio to fund the build. But if interest rates come down even further, then I will get a traditional mortgage on the property. So they will, in the future, if they come down in the future, they will affect my strategy. But the current, tiny little amount that they came down last year did not affect my strategy at all. Did that answer your question, or did I just go off on a tangent?
Well, you told us how it affects your strategy, but if I'm just generally real estate, I'll tell you the thing that I saw Barbara Corcoran say recently. And she even told us this, I think, when she was on the show last time, Mindy, which is that everybody thinks that when interest rates go down, like that is when, if you're thinking about investing in real estate, it's a great time to do it. And she said the problem there is you're going to get so many new investors that enter the market as interest rates come down that you're going to see people go back to overpaying for property then. And so you're more likely to strike a deal if you enter the market when interest rates are higher. Do you agree with Barbara?
First of all, nice name drop. And second of all, absolutely, Barbara is 100% correct. I was going to say, if for just like random people ask me all the time, well, or people tell me all the time, I'm going to wait until interest rates go down. Okay, when are interest rates going to go down? Your Magic 8 Ball doesn't actually have that answer because nobody knows when the rates are going to go down. So let's say that rates start going down in August. That's when you're going to get a ton of people jumping back in because there are people who simply cannot afford the mortgage payment right now. So they're sitting on the sidelines. They're either staying in their house that doesn't really fit them anymore, or they're still renting because they can't afford the new mortgage payments. I truly believe that if mortgage interest rates start with a 5, even 5.9, you are going to see people pouring back into the market. So what I have been telling people, side note, I'm a real estate agent. I'm licensed in Colorado, but I'm not your agent. So don't take this as gospel. Listen to your own agent. But if you are waiting for interest rates to come down, but you can afford prices right now, like Barbara said, get in now, because then you're only competing with yourself when it comes time to reduce your interest rate. But absolutely, there's going to be people pouring back in. They've been waiting since, when did they start raising rates? June of 2022?
Yeah.
It's been forever that we've had these super high rates, even though historically we're like right on average.
Right. Not really, quote, super high, even though people complain about how super high they are.
I want to point out one thing, though, is we were talking about the Fed funds rate, and mortgage interest rates aren't influenced by the Fed funds rate. They're influenced by the 10-year Treasury. So,
we saw, Len, to your point, we saw a big divergence between the two this year. One of the few times we saw a huge divergence. So it's a great point to make, especially this fall.
Because since the Fed's been lowering, but the 10-year's been going up.
Yeah.
So you gotta. I mean, mortgage rates. I just saw the 30-year average it just creeped over 7% again. I think I just saw that. So
at some point we have to see those two begin to converge again, I would think.
Yeah.
The by the way, I don't need to name drop any other name than I know Mindy Jensen, just so you know. So the answer here, OG, was close. You said 4.25, but it was 4.48. And what did the Magic 8 Ball say?
Highly doubtful.
How about that? Magic 8 Ball. What is going on, Len?
I think it's worried about the coin taking its place, the magic quarter.
It is now back 4-3. Actually, somebody asked last year in our basement Facebook group. We didn't ask it, but I don't know if you remember this, guys. Somebody asked, will ChatGPT take the Magic 8 Ball's place? Will we ask ChatGPT instead? Which would also be fun. Maybe we compare and see who's better. Yeah. We move on then. Speaking of people in the basement Facebook group, I asked the Facebook group for another question, and this is what they said. Will there be a change in leadership at OpenAI? And it can happen one of two ways. Either A, OpenAI no longer controls their own destiny. They're controlled by some other entity. Or number two, we have a different CEO. So what's interesting is, remember this at the time, this controversy, and then more stuff came out from the board about how Sam Altman, the CEO at the time, wasn't telling them anything. He literally was just coming out with stuff. And then we found he had the problem with Scarlett Johansson wanting to use her voice and her saying no. And then the very next day, he's using her voice anyway. And then OpenAI really going big on the for-profit side, right? So lots and lots of changes in AI. And by the way, ChatGPT a year ago being such a big part of AI. And now, Len, I mean, there's so many different choices when it comes to using AI. We don't even know if Len Penzo is really here today.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't use that. I don't use the AI. I don't use AI for anything. I know people use it for all kinds of stuff.
You know, it's bad when you call it the AI. Like I'm going to the Walmart.
Or my father-in-law, he has an S to everything. He calls it Walmarts.
Walmarts. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had that back in Michigan, the Kmarts.
Yeah,
Kmarts.
right. He does that too.
Yeah.
Kmarts.
Yeah. Buy a Fords. But it's funny when it comes to Ford, it's a family. So I don't know. So will there be a change in leadership? No, the board ended up going bye-bye. CEO stayed in place. We're talking about another entity. Microsoft owns a lot of their stock, but Microsoft did not come in and lay down the hammer. So the answer was no, there was not a change at OpenAI. Let's change with AI, but not something with ChatGPT. Let's see what the Magic 8 Ball said.
No.
How about this, Len? The Magic 8 Ball up 5-3 now.
8 Ball's got its mojo back, dare I say. Back to the old days.
Who the hell is this Magic? Have you secretly replaced it with one that doesn't suck?
I don't know. Maybe the AI. AI. I'm sorry. The AI. AI has got it scared. I don't know.
Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like, no, I'm not going to be replaced. You can't replace me with a robot. Paula was back up with her final question. And this one a year later, also really, really interesting to see what's changed, because so much change in AI. And this was on everybody's mind this time last year.
Well, Apple's Vision Pro is coming out in 2024. So
it looks so cool.
Doesn't it? Spring 2024 is looking like it's going to be a big time for tech. We've got the Bitcoin halving event. We've got Apple's Vision Pro coming out. So and then like when Apple Vision Pro comes out, there may or may not be renewed interest in the metaverse, and we'll see how that unfolds over the span of the year. And so I am curious in terms of general popular adoption of Apple's Vision Pro, right? And the way that culture changes through the adoption of new technology. I would like to know, by December 1st, will Apple sell more than 1 million units of its Vision Pro?
They were geared up to sell 600,000 of these things. We were so excited about it. Like you heard me say a year ago, how awesome this looked. When you watch Mindy, did you see the commercials for these before they came out?
No, that's not my jam.
The headgear? No. Len, did you see the commercials for these before they came out? The Vision Pro?
No.
Just amazing how it was going to blend reality with all this other stuff around it. Like I thought it looked great. The thing comes out, it's very heavy. I kept seeing pictures of dorks, people that look completely like dorks in a restaurant sitting across from each other, both wearing these headsets.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
Like when it came out, it was the dumbest looking thing ever. And then it didn't perform at all the way people hoped to perform. In fact, Tim Cook from Apple had to come out and say, well, this is for people that want the new tech. And just a few weeks ago, Apple announced that they are going to, or if they haven't already, quit selling the Vision Pro. And now they're going to come out with the Vision Pro 2. They're, quote, reworking it right now. They geared up to sell 600,000. Obviously, they don't tell exactly what their number is, but most people say, even though Fast Company back in July reported that this was a huge bomb, like the monster bomb, they actually did sell close to 600,000, but a far, far cry from the million units that Paula was suggesting. So the answer here is no. Did any of you guys buy one?
No, but now I remember those videos you're talking about. There were people showing people walking down the street with those.
Oh, they look so dumb.
They look so stupid. Yes, and now I remember exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, but when you watch the commercials ahead of time, man, it looks sweet. I was like, oh, I want to get one of these. I can totally see why some of these early adopters went and bought one. And at the time we did this a year ago, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Man, if this goes, I'm totally going to own one. And then I'm like, why would I sit in a crowded restaurant across from somebody and not talk to them, and instead, and you're gesticulating in the air, like as you're changing. I don't know. This is so weird. So the answer was no. Again, let's see what the 8 Ball said.
Yes, it is certain.
God, I took him that day to answer that one.
Now it's certain.
Yeah, we asked it about 15 times. and it finally became certain that, yes, it was going to sell 1 million. So, Len, it was going well. We've got 3 left, and it's only winning 5-4. I think that.
Wow, you're harsh. Only winning 5. It's winning, Joe. Let's think positively here.
Are you sweating, or is the 8-ball sweating?
I'm sweating. This is like my little baby here. It's like, don't call my baby ugly. I'm always rooting for it.
Nobody puts the 8-ball in the corner. Right. Len, you were next. Let's see what you asked it as your last question.
Okay, so we're talking AI, and I think Nvidia, I think they had a huge year this year.
Huge.
In 2020. Huge year. I think they were up more than 200% on the year. The stock, I think, and now I think it's over $400, maybe pushing $500. So will this continue? Because in Nvidia, it's because of the AI, the whole AI thing. They're just capitalizing on this now. So will that continue? Will Nvidia, let's say, will the stock double again from the close of 2023? Will it double by December 1st?
Woof. We're leaving that 25% thing that we've been doing.
Okay, so instead of asking at 25%, will Nvidia double? Sounded ridiculous. Nvidia stock nearly tripled over the last year. I was like, there's no way it's going to double. Oh, yes, it can. June 7th of this year, they did a 10-to-1 stock split. The stock trading much, much higher. So the answer was yes. Yes, it can. Nvidia had the year of yes, it can. And did the 8-ball think Nvidia could go up that much?
The answer is yes.
How about that, man? Nvidia.
I love it.
It is now 6-4 with 2 questions ago. So worst case scenario, Len,
this could be impressive if it finishes strong here.
Worst case scenario is it's 500, which is what we're all hoping for. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm hoping it gets.
We are not all hoping, not all of us.
Back at the beginning, I was like, if it could just get 500, please. And now we know that is assured as we go to OGs.
Look, let's just set the table. Let's set the table here.
Ooh,
if it finishes 2 more correct answers, that's a 75% prediction rate. That is impressive. That is impressive.
Are you supposed to say it out loud, Len? Are we supposed to say it out loud?
Let me revel in the glory now, just in case.
Let's see what OG said. OG, wait a minute. This is a penultimate question. Sorry.
Penultimate question. Correct.
Ooh.
This one I got from the upstairs, AKA my boys. I said, was there anything that you're curious about that we should ask the 8-ball for? And they're big Cowboy fans. They're loving the Cowboy stuff right now. So my son was very specific in his Cowboy question. Will it be the Cowboys versus the Bills in the Super Bowl? I was like, do you want to just the Cowboys to win?
I'm not so sure about.
He said no. Cowboys versus Bills in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
In 2024.
Well,
the Bills
we'll
were
just,
the struggle bus.
Yeah, they're visitors. Don't count on me.
For people that don't follow sports, will it be the Cowboys and the Bills? I'm happy to announce that the Kansas City Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers. So neither team made it. Sadly, OG, the boys, didn't get either one of their picks right.
Dallas was bounced in the first round last year.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this year. No, that's right. That was talking about the previous year.
That was talking about last year. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We're 14 months behind this, Len.
No
we're behind schedule.
Wait, yeah.
Neither team.
So it was wrong twice, basically. Or they were wrong twice.
The answer is no. The 8-ball right now is 6 up, 4 down. Can it go to 7-4? We're hoping for a no. Well, I mean, we're hoping for yes, it can, and the answer is no. Let's qualify that. All right, here we go.
He is getting tired. Boy, he is not responding. There we go.
Definitely not.
How about that?
Guaranteed winner for Mr.
We are
Predicto.
rolling, baby.
7 up, 4 down. Not a bad year. Either way here, but can we go to 8 and 4? 8 and 4, Len. Again, Len, to your point, what a great, sweet year that would be.
What a year! I mean, yeah. Let's. Oh my gosh, this is
yeah.
Great.
Mindy, your family into football?
Old days. This is like the old days.
Yes, we are. And Joe, I have a fun little story. I successfully predicted who would be in the February 2007 Super Bowl at the beginning of the year in 2006.
Wow.
So
Did you put money on it?
No, I didn't put money on it. Why would I do that? So I found myself pregnant and due on Super Bowl Sunday. And I said, oh, great. My Chicago Bears are going to go in against the Colts in the Super Bowl. And I'm going to be in labor and I'm not going to be able to watch the Super Bowl. And it turns out that I wasn't in labor. She was born 3 days later. But the Chicago Bears went up against the Colts.
Wait, but did you say I found myself pregnant like you had nothing to do with it?
I did have a little.
So I was sitting there one day, and then I found myself pregnant.
Once upon a time, I got knocked up and was due on Super Bowl Sunday.
She had no idea how that all worked.
So I thought that two of my two favorite teams were going to go in there and play each other, and they did, and the Bears lost because they're the Bears.
The Bears. Last year, Mindy, I bought tickets, but OG, you know this. I bought tickets before the season began because I thought that the Detroit Lions were going to be pretty good last year. And I bought tickets for the end of the season for my son and I to go watch them play in Dallas. And had I wanted to sell them, I could have sold them for about double what I bought them for, which was really cool. We decided to go to the game and watch them get screwed. That's a whole different thing because all's well that ends well so far, right? Lions having another good season. Let's find out the last question here. Can we go 8 and 4 with the Magic 8 Ball? Here was the question from our Facebook group. You know, we've seen a lot of talk about inflation this year. Of course, inflation finally may be settling down. But if we have, an economy that struggles next year, maybe inflation heats up again. So I think that Vincent asked this question in a great way. He says, on December 1st of next year, let's change this to the day we record, Vincent. So it's because it's got to be a variable day because we got to go to the store and see. Will a can of Arizona tea still carry a price tag of 99 cents? That's almost like Len's sandwich survey every year, right?
Wow.
Or it's like the Costco hot dog special of $1.50, right? It's been that way forever, the hot dog.
Well, and I didn't know that at the time, Len, until you said it there, because I thought we were just asking about the random inflation like your wonderful survey every year. But it turns out that the founder of Arizona Tea, Dom Foltaggio, I think is how you pronounce his name, Don has promised that the tea would stay 99 cents. It's been 99 cents forever, and it would stay 99 cents, just like the Costco hot dog. So
that's right. What does that tell you? That tells you about his margins are huge, right? So it probably costs him 4 cents to make a can of Arizona tea. So
but man, it must have gone down a ton the past few years. You know what I mean? Those margins must be a lot less. So I did some digging today, and Albertsons.com, one of the biggest supermarkets in the nation. You guys know what a can of Arizona tea costs now?
99 cents.
99 cents. It did stay the same again this year. So the 8 Ball answered yes. Can the 8 Ball go from a pretty damn good year to a phenomenal year? Let's find out. We need a yes, 8 Ball.
Definitely not.
Oh. Well, still a great year, Magic 8 Ball. 7 correct, 5 incorrect.
That's 60. That's almost 60%. I think that's better than a coin flip.
Well, guess what? that is the first part of today's show. Now we got to figure out what's going to occur in 2025. We're going to ask the 8-ball. Well, I've got some good ones, and I know talking to you guys ahead of time, you do too. Let's find out. All right, Mindy Jensen, you're going to kick it off this year. What's the first thing you want to ask our Magic 8-ball about 2025?
Whew. I have so many questions that I want to ask. I am going to, in keeping up with Paula's asking about the royals, I am going to go with American royalty. Will Keeping Up with the Kardashians finally be canceled?
So this is so important to our financial futures. So the Kardashians, did you watch the Kardashians then? The American royalty?
I have spent 0% of my life watching the Kardashian show.
So, but they are self-made billionaires.
They really are. They're just amazing in every single possible way.
Yes. OG's a big fan.
I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All
right.
As big as me.
Len is so will the Kardashians be canceled by December 1st of next year?
Let's find out.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Oh, you're happy about that.
I am not a fan.
It'll just be replaced by something else. So
That's true.
All right. So moving on, Len, what do you got, man?
Let's see. Since I don't want to get you riled up, Joe, so I'll answer I'll give you some sort of question that relates to finances here. But I'm going to go out. I'm going to go way out on a limb. Let's just make this fun. There's been a lot of companies declaring bankruptcy this year. A lot, even some of the ones you wouldn't think. The Dollar General stores and the Big Lots and Party City went out.
Party
of business.
City.
Can you believe that? So let's see if this trend continues. I'm going to find out. I want to know if the trend's going to continue in 2025, but I'm going to go out with a really way out there, and I'm going to ask the 8-ball, Magic 8-ball, will Macy's declare bankruptcy? Will Macy's declare bankruptcy in 2025?
Macy's.
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is absolutely yes. I don't think that surprises you, Len, that the 8-ball said yes.
Well, I'm disappointed because I know we're already that's a loser. I mean, the 8-ball, I can't believe that's going way out there. The 8-ball's really he's pushing it.
You do think so? See, I look at every mall in America. Are you
serious? You really think Macy's is going to go?
I just look at every mall in America and any store in any mall. Like we were driving by our one mall in Texarkana, and I was telling my nephews who were here visiting over the holidays that, you know what? I didn't even set foot in the mall once last year. Yeah, I didn't go in it once.
Nor did I.
And maybe I went in once, maybe twice the year before that. Like,
because you're not a 12-year-old girl.
No, well, and that is part of the problem of malls, right? Like, I remember we were talking about this on a Stacky Benjamin show late last year that, man, back in the day, I had this, you go to the record store, you go to the bookstore, you go to all these, those stores are gone.
Yeah, that's
true.
All
gone. So it is sad, but I don't not see that. Like, I think, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you actually think that there's a possibility. I mean, it's not way out there that it's possible. That's what you think. I think that's absolutely impossible. But who knows?
I think it's horrible, but yeah, I do think we'll see. But without diving into their balance sheet, I didn't know you were going to ask that, so I didn't specifically dive into Macy's balance sheet to see. But OG, what do you got as your first question for the 8-ball?
Well, we were talking about mortgage rates before, and I'm just going to steal this one from Mindy so she doesn't get it. 30-year mortgage rates right now about 7.25 as we record it today. Depending on who you ask, but it's right around that. My question is, will we find 30-year rates? So the normal 30-year mortgage rate, will it be below 6.5 at the end of this year?
30-year mortgage rate below.
30-year mortgage rate's down 75 bips, as the cool kids say.
But I would think based on current trends and kind of where we're at right now, I don't see that out of the realm of possibility. I mean, Mindy, you're in real estate. Do you see that out of that? That doesn't sound like a wacky number that a year from now we might be 75 bips, the way the cool kids say it.
I was going to ask, will it drop below 6% this year?
Ooh.
Oh, so his
You want
is
to meet in
gonna
the
be
middle
can't
and
do
share?
anymore.
You want to meet in the middle and share this one and say 6.25?
6.25.
Okay.
Oh,
Will 30-year rates be below 6.25 on whatever day Joe or Len decides to check this? In
December
2022.
1st.
December 1st.
The answer is no.
Won't be. Well, 8Ball's predicting something that maybe we don't know. But if we talk about Macy's bankruptcy, if it says Macy's bankruptcy, yes, and interest rates high, that's not a good thing. Like if the 8Ball's right on those two, might be in for some bad stuff, bad juju.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Let's go to the Facebook group for our next one. We got some great questions as always, such as a couple that I won't ask, like, will OG write the book he keeps threatening to? Melvin asked that one. He didn't say threatening to. He said the book that he's talked about. Aaron asked, will the 30-year mortgage rate drop below 5%? Brian wants to know if the U.S. is going to actually buy Greenland. And but let's go with this one. We saw this last year, some disturbing devastation from hurricanes. And Vincent asked a question that's unlike one that we've asked here before. And he said the official hurricane season is considered over on December 1st. So in 2025, Len, will the Atlantic Basin produce 15 or more named storms and or strike the continental U.S. with 3 or more named storms? That's what he wants to know. Obviously, we hope that answer is no. But, man, this year we had a tough year. Let's see.
That's a toughie. That's like a double. That's a double.
Question.
That's a double question.
I think we just got to ask if 3. Let's just ask the 3.
Yeah.
Does the mainland get hit by 3 hurricanes?
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
All right. Ready? Here we go. Let's see.
Definitely yes.
Oh, that's not good. Interest rates up, Macy's bankrupt, and we hit by hurricanes. It's the apocalypse.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Mindy, you're up next with your second question. You want to ask about zombies next?
Yeah.
Holy cow. What else could go wrong?
Well, if we're throwing all those things in there, let's say, is the U.S. going to get involved in a war this year?
We have to define what get involved in a war actually means.
And
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, we're involved in lots of
Will the United States be the aggressor against another country in a war or warlike scenario in 2025?
Have we ever been the aggressor?
I think that's debatable.
I don't know how we define that.
Mindy, I'm sorry. You didn't take the training, did you, before the Magic 8-Ball training before you came on the podcast?
Just skip the mandatory HR session.
Yes. Do over.
I have other questions. We're talking about all this pestilence.
Well, doom and
We can
gloom.
also talk about war. Do you want it to be happier?
What about
One.
I mean, I was thinking at first like fire missiles, but then we fire missiles against terrorists. In Syria, they were doing it in 2024, right? So how do we define that?
We got good guys everywhere. There's bad guys. I assure you.
Yeah.
The only way you could really do is you'd have to say, would Congress declare war or something like that?
But the problem is we never declared Vietnam as a war.
Of course. Yes, I know. But I'm saying that's something that's one definitive way you could say.
Sure.
Well, were we in, was Iraq a war? Was Afghanistan a war?
Like Congress? No.
Okay. I don't want to do any more doom and gloom because that's not very fun. So let's talk about the stock market. Will the Dow close above 50,000 by December 1st, 2025?
Wow. Will the Dow
like
Jones? Well, before you ask it, Len, let's talk about where the Dow Jones Industrial Average is today, because a lot of our fans do not follow. Or are we at today, Mindy?
I believe we are at the 42,000 today, 42,528.36 at this very moment.
not at all specific.
Oh, well, I guess it's closed. So there you go.
Yeah, 42,528.30.
Healthy 20-25% rise.
Oh, that'd be 3 years in a row, Len.
Wow,
How great would that be, guys?
I don't. Has that ever happened? Dow going up 20%.
And Macy's is bankrupt.
And Macy's is bankrupt.
Well, I'm hoping that you're wrong on that Macy's being bankrupt. And
I hope so too.
Hurricanes thing.
All right, Len, what's it going to be?
It is best not to say now.
Oh, no.
Come on, 8-Ball.
Yes, it is certain.
It's certain.
It's certain.
I don't know how all this magic happens, but it happened this year. I mean, we got lots of bankruptcies, Len. We had lots of bankruptcies. We had wild hurricanes, and so it could.
The 8-Ball works in mysterious ways. So let's, it's diving deep into the future, and who knows? Only the 8-Ball knows.
Is that what it's doing? I've often wondered what the 8-Ball's doing.
Can I get an early copy of this show so that I can take it to my lender?
Got to. Yeah, this is proof right here. Len, what's your second question?
Okay, let's see. It is, as I'm looking here. Oh, yeah, here's a good one. Of course, I've got to do a precious metals question, right? Let's shift over from gold. Let's go to silver this year. I want to know if silver, let's see, right now it's sitting at about 30. Let's see, will it get to $40 by December 1st? $40.
Oh, that'd be a nice thing. Yeah, I remember we had our silver expert, David Moore, on, and David had this great quote I love, Len, that said that silver will frustrate you just a little longer than you'll have money.
Silver is a weird creature because it's a precious metal. It's supposed to be a store of value, and it is, but it's in a frustrating way. It goes up and then it goes down for long periods, and it's only over the very long term that it remains a true store of value. And the reason for that is it's not just money; it is also used industrially. So when the economy tanks, silver tends to tank too, which is kind of counterintuitive, but that's just the way it is. So if you're going to play around with silver, you got to hold it for a long, long time.
So the question again is,
yes, will silver by December 1st be $40?
$40.
Let me get the thing going. Here we go.
Without hesitation, yes.
Wow.
Did you hear the enthusiasm in 8-Ball's voice? Did you hear that? I mean, it was enthusiastic. We'll see.
Well, it was very enthusiastic this year about gold. That was the first one it got right this year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, hey,
gold, so
we'll see.
I don't know. Last couple of questions, it's looking up.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be the apocalypse. Now I'm like, well, maybe it's a split kind of year like we had this year. Okay, OG, your second question.
So I have a college or a high school senior this year who has, 4 months left in his high school career. And a lot of questions about where he's going to go to college, has a lot of different options, but I'm curious if he'll get into his number one school. So will my son, what? What's so funny?
Nothing. I'm just thinking a good financial question. It is a good financial question for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because you want to know how much you owe.
How much do I owe?
Magic 8-Ball, how screwed am I?
All right. Will my son next year on December 1st be enrolled at the University of Michigan?
Wow. Let's see.
It is a certainty.
Oh.
Well,
And I just
Josh's
think
bank
it's-
account. I mean, OG's bank account.
Will I be bankrupt in December 1st?
Ouch.
Macy's
What is tuition there?
OG.
What is tuition there? Just out of curiosity.
Out of state,
40?
all in.
40 grand?
Out of state, all in, room and board, etc. Cost of attendance is what they will quote you. is in the high 70s, low 80s. Now the grants and aid and, scholarship and whatnot.
My gosh.
I just don't understand as a Michigan State guy why somebody would want to be that gross anyway. Like, seriously. Why do you want to go to that disgusting place and pay that much?
I don't, honestly, just so everybody doesn't send me a bunch of hate mail, a lot of it will come down to the monetary stuff of it. He's accepted to what was his number one school, prior to the whole Michigan thing. And so that's an in-state public, quote unquote normal, college, and was his number one school. And then he's also accepted into another private school with a potential to get a full ride scholarship. So we'll know more about that in the next couple of months as they, finish out the.
Yeah, but it sounds like none of that matters. You're going to be broke this time next year. The OG family.
Not exactly. I mean, honestly, if he gets accepted, then there's obvious discussions that we have to have around how this is going to affect,
sure.
the plan.
Have you told him that plumbing and electricians, they're good careers too? Did you tell him that?
Yes. If you met my oldest, you would understand that there's, he wouldn't know what a wrench is if it donked him in the head.
And knowing OG, it's donked him in the head a couple times already.
Yeah. So,
right.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Lord willing, if Mr. Predicto is correct, we will also get lots of scholarship.
As we record, OG's going to have to leave early today. So, OG, let's take your final question, and then we'll wrap it up for the rest of us.
Can I have a very meta question?
Is it about Facebook? You
I
mean
was going to
Meta?
say,
Yeah.
Is that
No, it's about Mr. Predicto, or is that? Can you have a self-fulfilling?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do that.
Self-fulfilling,
sure.
Spirally question.
Yeah.
My question about Mr. Predicto is: will it be over 50%?
Oh, this is almost like the universe turns in on itself. If
that's what I mean. It's like a black hole.
Yeah. Let's find
I've got a better one. If we don't want to do the circular logic of if we get an Excel error of circle.
Yeah, I'm like, how do we turn that? I feel like it's when you do the camera thing into a mirror and it just shows.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking too.
Right.
It's like it's like 4. It's 5 and 4, and it doesn't know how to answer the question.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
If I'm right, then I'm right, but I'm wrong, but I'm right.
We've reached the event horizon.
Exactly.
Yes.
Here's a better one. Will we have identified what all the drones are flying over all these random cities by this time, December 1st?
Everything points to yes.
Okay, good. So they're just airplanes. Got it.
I don't know, man. But 8-Ball, if I should take it to the back room, because I really think this 8-Ball is he's really going out on a limb this year for most of these questions.
Come on,
Len used to work in that industry.
I was going to say, can I just ask a different question? Will Len tell us what all those things are flying around?
You know what? I'll honestly, I think have I told you this before? One of the last things I did right before I retired, I was working just for fun. I was on a little project for a major company, drones. We were working on giant drones. I was testing engines, the propellers, huge propellers for huge drones. So they're still not out. I haven't seen them out yet, but you should see the size of these drones. Yeah, well, no, these are huge drones, huge, and a company was going to use them.
I was on a road trip and finishing the evening in Memphis. It's about 4 hours from home, and I got a hotel so I could start early the next day. And as I went by the Memphis airport, I saw 2 huge drones over the airstrip there, which ostensibly, because that's home of a lot of FedEx stuff, right? The FedEx using some big drones that were just hovering over the airport.
Okay, well, so it could be that. It could be another company, but something similar to, yes. And if they're huge drones, yes, that's what they've been working on those for years. These are humongous payloads that these things are capable of carrying. So, yeah.
So you're saying they're not Chinese drones that are coming to get us?
No.
It's just FedEx delivering all your crap for Christmas. Everybody's panicking, and FedEx is like, dude, do you want this stuff next day delivered or don't you? Take your pick. Take your pick here. What do you want to have happen?
Come on,
you want
New
it on your
Jersey.
front porch, or do you want it to take a month? Dealer's choice.
All right. So the answer there was
yes, we will know.
Yes, we will know. Good.
So I feel good about that.
Let's do then the next one from our friends in Mom's Basement. And I really like this one because, heck, this year we had gold up so much, as we talked about, and we also had Bitcoin up a lot. This is a fantastic question from Aaron on that very point. Will Bitcoin outperform gold before December 1st of next year?
And that's for the year, right? So from January 1st to December 1st.
January 1st to December 1st.
Right, let's find out.
Now is not the right time to tell you.
Well, it's gotta be. Mr. Predicto's like, I'm tired. Isn't a winning record enough? You ask me more and more.
Ask him again, Joe.
All right. Will gold outperform Bitcoin in 2025 between January 1st and December 1st?
Everything points to yes.
How about gold over Bitcoin this coming year? Well, that would say something about the volatility of Bitcoin, right? Because who knows? I mean, roll the dice. Where are we going to be in the next 12 months?
Talk about silver. It's like silver. It's like big swings in both directions. So, yep. Well, we'll see.
That is one thing, though, with the new administration. I mean, all the talk about crypto and the new administration and more favorable policies toward crypto. Who knows where that's going to go? But
you know which crypto coin's really been outperforming lately is Fart Coin. You heard of that, right? Fart, yes.
Oh, God, no.
Yes. Fart Coin.
That thing's ripping. Sorry.
And on that note,
she's like, gotta go.
Exit stage left.
Busy.
Yes. All right,
And
Mindy, back to you.
I will see you guys later.
See you later, OG. And Mindy, let's get your last one.
Okay, so way back when, 100 years ago in 1990, I was in college and I was taking a business class. And this was back when you had to get the stock prices on the newspaper because the internet either didn't exist or I didn't have it.
Yeah.
I do those before my client meetings, by the way. I go in and find out the closing price of the day before and take out my calculator and figure it out for clients.
Yeah,
It's
remember
funny.
those days? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the newspaper and have all the stock prices. Yeah.
I kind of miss my HP 12C, by the way. I love that calculator. Anyway, back to enough reminiscing.
So in the business class, we were supposed to pick one stock at the beginning of the year and just follow it. And people were, they had their favorite or whatever. And I just went like this and stuck my finger out and I landed on Berkshire Hathaway. And I was like, this is really expensive. Is that for one share of stock? And I want to say it was like $20,000, but maybe I'm way wrong. Because I don't remember what the price was.
It was still a lot.
Yeah.
It was, everything else was like $12 and this is $20,000. Like it had this giant space in the tiny.
No, Mindy, it was 20,007/8.
Okay, so 20,000. I do remember that, right? So if I would have bought a share back then, it would have taken all my money. I want to know if Berkshire Hathaway A shares, because they have since split into A and B shares, will A shares hit $950,000 a share by December 1st?
And for just again, for people that don't follow it, where's it trading at as we record this, Mindy?
It is not up in my thing. So thank you so much for asking after I closed it out. Berkshire Hathaway Class A. Price quotes. It is right now at $678,680. But for the last year, in 2024, it went from a low of $549,000 in January to a high of $724,000 in November. So it's not outside the realm of possibility, even though it is currently trading at 679,000 or whatever.
But we saw it this year from the stock market, from gold, from Bitcoin, like we talked about the last hour. Like none of this is out of the Nvidia.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
It's crazy. So is it gonna hit 950,000 this year, Len?
Yes, it is certain.
Cha-ching.
I get all excited like this is actually going to be, yes, it's totally going to happen.
So how many shares do you have of it, Mindy? 5, 6?
Well, she does own shares.
I do own shares, but I don't own A shares. I
Oh,
own B
okay.
shares, which are trading a little bit less than the A shares. A shares are $678,000. B shares are like $480.
So you can buy a fraction of a share?
I don't know how the A's and the B's work. I didn't really pay attention to that. But if you own one share of Berkshire Hathaway B stock, you can get into the annual meeting, which they hold every year.
Very cool.
Mindy, I know not only have you done, but you've said before, you've actually asked a question at the meeting.
I asked a question at the meeting. Oh my God, I was so nervous. I swear everybody could hear my heart like pounding out of my chest. But it was wonderful.
That gave me an idea. Joe, why don't you start issuing shares? And then people can, if they buy enough shares, they can, I don't know, have dinner with you or something, or something fun.
Will Stacking Benjamins go bankrupt? That's the next.
You can have your own coin. You could have JSS coin.
I could. Yeah, it's like the fart coin. Give me a break.
Yeah, well, JSS is very similar to a different letter. J sounds a whole lot like A.
My
JSS
cousin's
coin.
my cousin's name, which they figured out when they tried to do for a while there, they were doing that monogram on the sweater of people's initials. Her name is Amy Saul-Sehy. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wasn't working out that well. It's a little awkward when you do that math ahead of time. Oh, look at that HP12C. People not watching our video.
That's a 15C. That's the engineering version. That's the 15C. 12C is the finance version.
Oh,
yes.
Thank God I'm wearing pants.
Yes.
Does Len out nerd Joe?
He did.
Was the 12C reverse Polish notation?
Everything was reverse. Everything was. Yeah, you had to put it all in reverse. Yes, I didn't know. I never called it reverse Polish, but yeah, it was crazy. Yes, that's Mindy's last question. All right, Len, you are up to bat, my friend.
All right, let's. I'm going to go with a kind of a fun one, if you don't mind, Joe. Don't bite my head off here, but this. Yeah. Taylor Swift still, big news and all that still, even though here. Turn of 2025. I want to know if Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are going to get engaged by December 1st.
Well, and the other question is then if they do get engaged, do we stop getting every 4 minutes of my football game Taylor Swift sightings?
Yes, exactly.
I feel like I see as much Taylor Swift when you watch the Kansas City Chiefs as you see Travis Kelce.
It's true.
It looks like she's drinking a Coca-Cola now.
Maybe I should apologize for that question, but you know what? Let's just go with it.
America wants to know, Len.
Okay, well that's fantastic.
America wants every other aspect of the world. She can permeate the Stacking Benjamin show too.
Well, and you think about this year. I mean, let's talk about making money, guys, for just a second, because in a year when Beyonce had a huge tour and Pink had a huge tour, I mean, you didn't hear about them. All you heard about was the Taylor Swift Eras tour. That's all you heard.
Yeah.
So
well, if you have teenage girls in your house, yes.
Did you go to one?
I didn't, but Carl and Claire ended up going to one.
They did go. Did Carl like it?
Carl said she puts on a really great show.
That's what I've heard.
That's good.
Yes. Well, let's see if she and Travis are going to put on a great show. All right. So Travis, Kelce, and Taylor Swift, will they be engaged by December 1st of next year?
Ask later when the time is right.
Well, and it's interesting, Len, because I said next year anyway, so I got to ask that again. Will Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift be engaged by December 1st of this year?
The answer you seek is yes.
Oh, that doesn't seem far-fetched, though. Not at all.
Not really.
Man, there's a bunch of questions by stackers that were so good. Will the IRS finally audit the government? Johnny asks. Will neighbor Doug wear pants while weed whacking his yard? Will Canada become the 51st state? Will Bitcoin become the official U.S. currency? Will Doug become the new Fed chair? Lots and lots of fun ones. I think we are going to end this one with one that Glenn asked that I think the world wants to know, and we'll know this by December 1st of next year. And I hope the answer here is yes, everybody. But Glenn asked the question, will the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl in 2025. And I know all of America wants that to be yes, because it's America's team. And I know either we lost people or they're all glued in. Who knows? But what's the answer to that one? Will Detroit Lions be the Super Bowl champs 2025?
Yes.
There it is. Oh, it's going to be a great year.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Who cares about Who cares about hurricanes and devastation? and
It's the cherry on top. Very good.
Oh, that's so good. So there you have it, everybody. Those are the predictions for next year. You have to tune in again 12 months from now to hear Mindy, OG, and Len and I go and see what happens. But it looks like we're going to have another year like we had this year. A lot of surprises this year. And kind of surprisingly, the 8-ball figured out more than it got wrong.
Yeah, it did better than a coin, so we got to give it a little credit. I wish I would have got that last question, but hey, we'll take 7 out of 12.
I consider that to be a pretty good year.
Yeah,
and the quality of the stuff. I mean, Nvidia going up, it said yes. Dallas Cowboys, no. It got right. It got right. Whether there would
gold
be
at 2,500, which was that was laughable, and it said yes, and it did it. It was right there too. So
the change in political parties taking over the White House, it got right. So some of the major events of 2024. Well, 2025, we'll see what happens. But you know what? You don't have to wait a full year to find out what's happening where Mindy and Len live. So let's ask, we'll go ladies first. Mindy Jensen, what's happening at the Bigger Pockets Money Podcast?
We are continuing to talk to people with interesting money stories. We recently released an interview with Ramit Sethi, and we
never heard of him.
I know, just some random guy. And Lauren from C Fire Sim, we walk through the C Fire Sim calculator, which is the fire simulator. Is your financial plan going to work?
Yeah.
And it's a really fascinating walk through her calculator. So
I love Lauren. Got to hang out with Lauren at Economy. I've hung out with Lauren at a couple economies.
Yes, I have too. And I'm going to hang out with Lauren again at Economy this year.
Me too, which means I'm hanging out with you at Economy, which is always fantastic. Len, you going to join us in Cincinnati for Economy this March? Come on.
Come on, Cincinnati in March, Len, come on.
I know, it's beautiful, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Do we have some Magic 8-Ball about that? Will the weather suck?
We're not
going to.
I don't want him to get it wrong. I don't want to end up being in Cincinnati in March.
Will the weather suck? Yes. But will you have a good time at Economy anyway? Also, yes.
Absolutely, yes. Because the weather's been cold every year and we still find a way to have a great time at Economy. Len Penzo, thanks for bringing along the 8-ball again, my friend. What's going on at lenpenzo.com?
Well, I have an interview. I got a lucky interview with Maria Bartiromo. You guys know Maria Bartiromo of Fox?
Yes.
Apparently, she's a big fan of mine, and I arranged an interview with her. So we'll be talking with Maria.
It's absolutely fantastic, and you're not kidding.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
It's like the Ramones wrote a song about Maria Bartiromo. I mean, I'm not kidding. You know that, Len, don't you?
What?
The Ramones wrote a song about Maria Bartiromo.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yes. The Money Honey, I love Maria. I think she's awesome. I'm a big fan of Maria's.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, Maria, give me a DM on Twitter and we'll work something out. Okay?
I'm sure she's a big fan.
In the meantime, you can always come by lenpenzo.com. On Saturdays, we have our weekly financial roundups. It's just a funny thing, wrap up of the best tweets and memes of the week. Related to finance, and I add the Squirrel Cam every week now. Squirrel Cam is in there, so
if only you had
come
fun.
On by.
I just wish you were having fun. If you were having fun, it'd be so much better. Right? That's at lenpenzo.com, where finer blogs are, and you'll hear Bigger Pockets of Money wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll have links to both of your amazing works at stackingbenjamins.com in our show notes. All right, Doug, you've got it from here, man. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us today. Doug, what should we have learned from today's 8-ball episode?
So what's stacked up on our to-do list for today? First, take some advice from our Magic 8-ball and don't try to predict the future. Just like our 8-ball, you might be right some of the time, but why bet on it when you can instead invest in your future. Second, do we have a second one? Nah, we're good. I think we'll just go with that. But what's the big lesson? Asking the Magic 8 Ball if you'll be rich someday might be fun, but asking Joe's mom if you can borrow money, that's a prediction you don't want to test. Thanks to Mindy Jensen for joining us today. You'll find Mindy's show, Bigger Pockets Money, wherever you're listening to us now. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. Thanks to Len Penzo for hanging out with us. You'll find his fabulous blog, lenpenzo.com, on your favorite browser. Go there. Check out the squirrel cam. Click the ads. It's a blast. Thanks also to OG for joining us today. Looking for good financial planning help? Head to stackingbenjamins.com/OG for his calendar. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2024, and is created by Saul-Sehy. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.